Hi, my name's Joe Pienaar. I'm the vicar at St Hugh's in Luton in the UK, and it's great to be with you all, even if not physically. It's great to be able to share a little bit of testimony about the way that Unbound has affected my life, my family, and my ministry. I came to faith about 12 years ago and had come from quite a broken family unit where I'd suffered abuse, and my father had walked out when I was 4 years old. From the ages of 15 to about 25, I'd gone off the rails and was involved in drugs and drink and womanizing and gambling, in trouble with the police and a lot of anger issues. And when I came to faith, I got taken under these two guys' wings, and they basically did a lot of emotional healing with me and a lot of deliverance, and I was so grateful for that. And that began my story, really, of not just receiving that ministry, but being able to give it away and pray for others. Although I still felt that I didn't really have the tools to be able to do that, just a kind of sense of the Spirit leading me in particular ways. Anyway, fast forward a few years, and I got called into ordained ministry. And whilst there, all sorts of issues of fear rose up while I was at Bible college. And I remember one time not being able to read the Bible out loud in front of 6 or 7 people and just being absolutely desperate. So much fear around ministering in front of my peers. Anyway, I went into the chapel that night and just pleaded with God, and he led me through a process of self-deliverance. I'd never heard of the term and never really understood it. But I went through a process of repenting of the areas where I felt that I'd been responsible for sin. I forgave those that I knew who to forgive. I rebuked the enemy from me and asked for the Holy Spirit to fill me up. Anyway, a few months later, I encountered another ministry called Jesus Ministry, which gave me some language for the self-deliverance that I'd gone through and reassurance that I wasn't completely crazy. Anyway, after which another year or so went by, I moved jobs from the Chester diocese in the north of UK to the St Albans diocese, where they were promoting a tool called Unbound. So I went on a conference with Matt Lozano, and this issue of ministering around my peers and the fear of that still was prohibiting me from doing lots of things. Instead of running to opportunities that I was getting to do ministry like that, I was making any excuse that I could possibly make to get out of it, even feigning sickness at times and so on. Anyway, they asked for a kind of guinea pig on the conference, and I was foolish enough to put my name forward. And blessed enough. Anyway, with 30 or so of my peers around me, I began to share with Matt about how I had fear of ministering in front of my peers. Can you imagine just how painful that was? Anyway, Matt gently encouraged me to continue to share, and it felt like just Matt and I were in the room at the time, and the Holy Spirit was really moving in my heart. There were a few tears. And he led me through the 5 keys, which I've come to really appreciate as a way of using healing and deliverance ministry in a non-confrontational and gentle way. Anyway, I was completely delivered from that fear, and from that moment on, there's been an absolute catalyst for me running to those opportunities to minister in front of peers rather than running away from. In fact, I've been taken into all sorts of situations since, both inside and outside of my remit, to minister in front of other leaders, and have relished the opportunity to do so. Anyway, having used or experienced the Unbound tool, I was then keen to bring that back to my own church and begin to use it. And so I began using it with my own family. My little boy, who is only 4 years old, had just started swimming lessons, and we discovered that he had a huge fear of the water. He was a really good swimmer and really naturally gifted, but couldn't cope with getting to the swimming pool each week. Every week we would get to the changing rooms and he would break down in tears and say, Daddy, I don't want to go. I'm too scared. And so I would every week we went through the 5 keys, and over a series of 3 or 4 weeks of repeating that process and giving him a truth encounter with Joshua 1:9. Be bold and courageous, do not be terrified, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. He repeated that continually while he was swimming, and he was completely delivered from that fear and is now top of the class, has been fast-tracked through a number of different classes since, and is a brilliant swimmer. So I've used it with my family. I've used it with my wife, and she's used it with me, pointing out where I might need to forgive people or renounce my own sin. And the other place where we've used it is prolifically in the church. So I huddled about 12 people in our church and have taken them through over the last year a period of training and discipleship. And then now using that tool on the third Wednesday of every month, where people who need to have that kind of ministry come to the church, and we have a number of people available to pray with them and for them. I also use it in pastoral encounters, turning those boring pastoral encounters where you're just listening to someone's problems into something that's much more fruitful. I see every pastoral encounter now as an opportunity to set people free and see them restored more to the image of God's glory. And what's fantastic is that fifth key. I absolutely love doing the Father's blessing. Our services, at the end of each service now, I do a spontaneous blessing and encourage that language of blessing within the church, because I think it is absolutely vital in restoring people to the image of God's glory. So that's part of my journey with this incredible ministry. I still feel like I'm learning all the time, and the Holy Spirit has been good in leading me into truth. But it's been an absolutely brilliant journey, and I can only commend this tool to each one of you, not just for yourselves and the way that God will turn you from the inside out using this ministry, but also for every pastoral encounter. This is a great way of equipping the saints for works of service. Anyway, take care. Hope you have a great conference, and hopefully be there another time. God bless. Bye.